What is going on, guys? Fitcho here, and welcome back to the Fitcho Career. It's episode number 21, the third last round of the championship. And we're here in Singapore for today's feature race under the floodlights. Now, going into this round, we have a 32-point lead in the championship. However, both our two closest championship rivals, Antonio Giovinazzi and Louis Delatraz, have both shown some great pace here in practice. So I think we're going to have our work cut out for us here today in Singapore, but hopefully we can still get some important points and hold on to that lead of the championship, as the next two rounds in the championship, Malaysia and then the finale in Abu Dhabi, aren't some of my strongest tracks on the calendar. Here we go, qualifying in Singapore for today's feature race as we head down the pit straight towards turn number 1, hard on the brakes as we flick the car left, then back to the right, back on the brakes as we go left yet again for turn number 3, then onto the power as quickly as you can, as we're now up into first place as we head down towards turn number 5, and it's important to get a good exit off turn 5 because it sets up the run down this DRS straight through the kink at 6 and down towards turn number 7. As we're sitting in second place, we jump onto the brakes for turn number 7. We slightly miss the apex. We've had a decent run through there, but a lot of wheel spin on the exit and through turn 8. A very tricky and slow corner up towards turn number 9. Try not to... Wow. Oh, no. Far out. I was literally about to say, try not to run wide through here, as I had a little bit of a slide there, and I try to catch. You can just see I go to correct the slide, and then I'm done. Because the walls just come so close here at Singapore, and I was literally going to say, try to avoid this wall, because this is one of the easiest walls to hit here at turn number 9, and that is exactly what I did. Unbelievable. Well, that's our qualifying over, and it looks like we're going to be starting this race from 22nd place on the grid right at the back, and that's not where you want to start for Singapore, as it's not an easy track to overtake at. So Louis Delatraz has taken pole here in Singapore, with Antonio Giovinazzi joining him on the front row, and that's what I meant. Those two look quick in practice, and they're going to be lining up on the front row of the grid, and they are our two closest competitors in the championship race right now, so that is not what we wanted to see, as we're going to be starting right at the back down in 22nd place alongside our teammate. So the strategy for today's feature race looks like it's going to be a one-stop, because of course we don't have to use the ultra soft tyres because we're qualified outside the top 10, so we can go softs and then onto the super softs, but look a little bit higher up to where the session forecast is. Apparently it's going to rain later in the race. It's sunny, cloudy, light rain, heavy rain, light rain. That is going to be very, very interesting later in the race. We'll see how all that pans out, but hopefully we can stay on the soft tyres until we have to swap over to intermediate tyres or something, and we don't have to make that first pit stop. That's what I'm hoping will happen, but who knows? It depends what time the rain comes and how good my tyre wear is. But without further ado, let's jump into the race. Here we go, engage the clutch, get the revs up as the lights come on. We've got 5 lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. The feature race here in Singapore is underway, and we've had a dreadful start from last place on the grid as we head down towards turn number 1. Going to be very, very careful up the inside of our teammate. There are cars all over the places up towards turn number 2. We're still side by side with our team. We're going to slip at the inside of the Arden, and I think that was Markov, and the Arden's gone for a spin and being collected by my teammate. I'm not too sure what exactly happened there. There was a little bit of contact with my rear, but I thought I left them adequate spaces. Now onto the DRS straight. We've got Alexander Albon right in front of us in the ART as we head down towards turn 7. We're just going to have to be careful on the brakes and just patient behind the ART. Can we look up the inside of turn number 8? It's not normally an overtaking opportunity, but we're going to make it an overtaking opportunity today as we move past Alexander Albon into 18th place. We've now got Nobuharu Matsushita up next in the Carlin. We are right on the back of Nobuharu Matsushita as we end the first lap here in Singapore. Can we look up the inside of the car and down into turn number 1? Yes, we can, and we make that move stick. Now up into 17th place as now we have Norman Nato in front of us on the back of a bit of a train. Looks like a 4-car train. As now we head through turn number 5 and onto the DRS straight. Of course, no DRS because there is only lap 2, but we have slipstream and we have rich revs on Norman Nato, but it's not going to be enough down towards turn number 7. Oh, there's contact between Kamara and Nato, and we sneak past Nato now to the outside of Seto Kamara through turn number 5, right around the outside as we get past the MP Motorsport car, now up into 15th place as we head down this DRS straight. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Brazilian back up my inside, but he doesn't go for the move as we're now up into 15th place. We've got Felix Sorrells up next in the Carlin on ultra soft tires, and it looks like there's a bit of a train right in front of him. We're right on the back of Felix Sorrells and Emil Bernstorff as we head down the DRS straight. As Sorrells goes past Bernstorff, can we look up the inside of Bernstorff as well? We just get the car stopped. A little tap on the back of Sorrells' car, but we make that move stick up into 14th place as Bernstorff loses 2 positions in one go there. It looks like Fuwoko and Sergei Sorokin have been battling, and now they have joined the front of this train as we are still stuck behind Felix Sorrells in that Carlin. It's just so difficult to overtake when you're running more wing than everyone else, and especially when you're in a massive pack and everyone else has DRS in front of you as well. It makes it very, very difficult to try and find a way past. You're gonna have to get creative. And there goes Charles Leclerc off into the pit lane. So now we've just got Norman Nato and Felix Sorrells in front of us. There's a lot more cars in the pits as we're now up into 5th place. They're right on the back of Norman Nato. Can we look up the inside of turn number 5? It's not an overtaking opportunity. We're going to make it one today as we get past the Russian time before the DRS straight. And we're now into 4th place. But he might come back at us. No, there's a big crash behind. Matsushita has spun Norman Nato right behind us. I look back at the perfect time to see that crash. And the virtual safety car is now out due to that smash. Felix Sorrells pulls off into the pit lane. So now it's just me, Latifi, and Sorokin still running, and Matsushita, I believe, behind us. So all the Ultrasoft runners have come in to the pit lane now to make their first stop of this race. Here comes Matsushita up our inside, down into turn 7. I'm going to go right around the outside and hold on to 3rd place for now. That looks like the leader coming off into the pit lane. That is Sorokin into the pit lane, and Matsushita hasn't followed him. So now it's me and Nicholas Latifi leading this feature race, and we are both on the soft tires. So we should be able to get through until the rain period. So I think this is pretty much a battle for the lead at this stage. We are right on the back of Nicholas Latifi, and now right on the back of us is the pole sitter Louis Delatraz. He's already made his first stop of the race is on much fresher tyres and a softer compound tyre, so he is flying at this stage of the race as me and Latifi are starting to struggle a bit on some very old soft tyres, and we're just going to have to hold on tight until this rain period comes, which isn't meant to be far away. Let's find out from Jeff with a weather report. They don't have the data for that. That means the weather is changing right now. The rain is just starting to fall. Any minute now, the rain will start. It is definitely starting to rain now here in Singapore. It's only a matter of time until we swap over onto the intermediate tyres. Oh, Latifi's going off into the pit lane. He might be pitting for the intermediate tyres. And it looks like Delatraz has followed him in. But me and Giovinazzi have soldiered on for one more lap. But I wouldn't have thought it was quite time for intermediate tyres. You can't even really see that much spray yet. So that is an odd call from Dams and Racing Engineering. And here we go. Jeff has his viable strategy change, and it's going to say intermediate tyres. So that means it is now time to swap over to the green walled tyre, the intermediate tyre, the wet weather condition tyre, as the rain is starting to fall a lot more here in Singapore as it's getting heavier and heavier. And if Delatraz and Latifi did swap onto intermediate tyres, they could have actually made a very nice call, as we are starting to really struggle on these dry tyres towards the end of this lap. Here we go, end of lap 18, and we're coming into the pit lane as the rain is starting to really come down here in Singapore. Get the car stopped just for the pit lane limiter. As we got our main championship rival, Antonio Giovinazzi, right there behind us, as we're going to swap onto the intermediate tyres. And if Delatraz and, what's his name? Oh, I've just completely forgotten who else we were racing. Latifi swapped onto dry tyres. We are in the effective race lead. I'm not too sure. Are they going to go around and we're going to see them on intermediate tyres? It doesn't look like we are. They must have swapped onto dry tyres or something and made a huge strategy blunder. As now me and Giovinazzi are leading in the front two positions of this race as Charles Leclerc is there on dry tyres. What is Leclerc doing? Fuoco must have got advantage in the pit lane, and he's going to have to do another lap on the dry tyres, and he would really be struggling in these conditions. We still have Giovinazzi right on our tail, but the rain is starting to get a little bit heavier here in Singapore. It looks like we're not too far away from swapping to the full wet tyres. Oh no, no! No, 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 no! No! No, what have I done? No, no. I didn't just do that, did I? What have I done? Clobbered that curb. Oh, the back's just gotten away from me. I've been too eager on the power. And I've gone to correct the slide straight into the wall. Oh, no. Oh, I've crashed out of the lead yet again. Only, what, 3 laps from home. 3 laps from home and I crash out of the lead yet again. 2 races in a row. I've crashed out of the lead. That is unbelievable. Let's have a look from the off-board camera. Let's see what I've exactly done. You can't see too much. You can just see, the back's just stepped out there. I've gone to correct it. And into the wall I've gone. Oh my god. No. No. 2 race wins in a row I could have had, and I've put it in the wall with less than 3 laps to go. That... You can just see it. Let's just have a look. And slowly, we're coming down here. We take too much curb there onto the power. You can just see the car start to slide there. I was really quick with my reactions when the car started to slide, trying to catch it. And into the wall we went. There was not... Once the car went in that position, in these conditions of the wall that close, there was not much I could do. You could see it already starting to drift wide. It was either the back end going to that wall first, or the front end. Oh, no. 2 races in a row. Unfreaking believable. So, Antonio Giovinazzi has won the feature race here in some very tricky conditions in Singapore. It got very, very wet there at the end. And it was probably wet enough for the wet tyres. But me, Giovinazzi, and I think it was Raffaele Marcello, all elected to stay out on the intermediate tyres. I think part of that led to my crash, because we definitely weren't on the right tyres for the conditions. And it was getting very, very tricky. And of course, I was trying to push as well to make sure I stayed ahead of Giovinazzi. And I had actually got the gap out from about half a second to about 2.5 seconds there as I crashed. That was really frustrating because I had the pace in the wet conditions there. And I reckon I could have quite easily won that race if I just backed off there and stopped pushing so hard. Because I did have a little bit of a buffer. Plus, without DRS and wet conditions in Singapore, it makes it very, very difficult to overtake. Almost as bad as Monaco in the wet to overtake. In second place is Raffaele Marcello with Oliver Rowland joining Giovinazzi and Marcello on the podium, with Louis Delatraz, the pole sitter, finishing in 4th place. So the top 4 in this race are all in the top 6 in the championship. Only myself and Nato aren't in the points in this race who are in the top 6 in the championship. So that is a lot of valuable points lost. And 25 points going to Giovinazzi, and the gap was about 33 going into this round, so we only have an 8-point lead now over Giovinazzi heading into the sprint race tomorrow, again here in Singapore. So that is a lot of valuable points there lost, because if we didn't have that crash, we would have extended our championship lead even further, because we would have won that race. So that is a real bummer, but these things happen sometimes. I pay the price for pushing too hard on the wrong tyre in some very tricky conditions, but that's how it goes sometimes. Anyway, Louis Delatraz finished in 4th, just off the podium, with Luca Giotto in 5th, Gustav Malia in 6th, and Nobuhiro Matsushita in 7th in the Carlin. And that is some valuable points for Carlin, and that should be enough to push them back above Arden in that battle for the wooden spoon in the team's championship. In 8th place is Sergio Setakamara, with Alexander Albon and Antonio Fuoco rounding out the points. Just outside the points, we have Felix Sorrells in 11th, Emil Bernstorff 12th, Latifi down in 13th, with Sergei Sorokin in 14th, Artem Markelov 15th, Charles Leclerc all the way down in 16th, with Igor Arudzev in 17th, Nick de Vries in 18th, and Sean Galisle, the last of the finishers, in 19th. Then myself, Norman Nato, and Jordan King did not finish the race. So after tonight's disappointing result in the feature race, Antonio Giovinazzi has really closed the gap in the Drivers' Championship. The gap is now only 5 points between myself and Antonio, myself on 187 points and Giovinazzi on 182, so it's very, very close at the top of the Drivers' Championship. And now we go back to 3rd place. It's a bit of a jump, 26 points from Giovinazzi back to Louis Delatraz, but Louis Delatraz, he's really on a charge at the moment, so with another 5 races to go in the season, I could definitely see him getting involved in this championship battle. And only 2 points behind Delatraz is Oliver Rowland. Again, I could see him getting involved in the championship battle as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out over the final 5 races. The main battle is obviously between me and Giovinazzi, but Delatraz and Rowland could definitely get involved and throw a spanner in the works. And then in 5th place is Raffaele Marcello. He's on 129 points. I think, realistically thinking, he's probably a little bit far off the championship lead to have a chance at winning the title unless something goes catastrophically wrong for all of the top 4. I'd say Raffaele Marcello is probably out of the championship race, so it's only down to the top 4 now as we head into the final 5 races of the season. In 6th place is Norman Nato with 116 points, with Luca Giotto just 9 points behind him on 107, and then only 5 points behind Giotto is Charles Leclerc on 102. Alexander Albon is in 9th with 98, just shy of breaking into triple digits and just shy of Charles Leclerc, only 4 points separating the two GP3 Championship rivals from last season. There were Gustav Malia and Jordan King rounding out the top 10, and they are tied for points on 83 points apiece. In the team's championship, Racing Engineering continue to lead with 239 points, 19 points more than their nearest rival MP Motorsport in 2nd. A further 8 points back off MP Motorsport is Campos Racing in 3rd, and 4 points behind them is Dams in 4th. So it's still pretty close between the top 4 in the team's championship, but with a 19-point lead, Racing Engineering are definitely in the box seat, but it's by no means over, with still another 5 races to go, so that could really still change up a lot in the team's championship. Then in 5th place, you have Trident on 187, and I don't see us having any chance at getting the team's championship. We can see in Galisle, our teammate still hasn't scored a single point, so all 187 of our points have come from myself, whereas all the other teams have had both drivers score, so it's going to be difficult to win the team's championship. I think being this far back at this point in the season, we are definitely out of contention, so it's just down to the top 4 in the team's championship, and 7 points behind us is Prima Racing in 6th, and a further 4 points behind them is ART Grand Prix in 7th, and then 7 points behind ART is Russian Time in 8th, and then Rapax in 9th, 20 points off Russian Time, so they're starting to slip back a little bit, but nowhere near as far back as Carlin and Arden. In the race for the wooden spoon, Carlin is just ahead of Arden, only 5 points separating them, but considering how many points they've scored after 20 odd races, that's a big margin between those two, with Carlin on 19 points and Arden on 14, and a long way off Rapax in 9th, over 130 points exactly between Rapax and Carlin. That is a huge margin. So that is all for today, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Fitcho, and I'll see you all next time.